really interesting thing, because before I get to the opportunities, maybe I have to highlight why I'm worried a little bit about this, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm worried a little bit about these centrist technocratic governments is that they don't really have any ideological principles. So both the left and the right typically have some principles that are the reason for being, right? That they'll uphold policy against. So you know that if you have to sell a policy idea to the left, you have to appeal to certain things and something else to the right, and so on. With a centrist technocratic government, they might be open for ideas, which is the opportunity. However, they also don't have a natural thing that might stop them from doing certain kind of policy. And herein lies a big threat, because that might lead to too rapid changes, and it might lead to a more unstable business environment down the line. So I'll give you a concrete example. If you, in order to get some populist left voters from the left, you might want to increase corporate taxation, right? Which is bad for, we know it's bad for investment, right? We know it's better to have a low, steady, especially steady corporate tax rate, so that investors, foreign investors, know what they're getting into, right?
Right.
But now, in order to maybe secure an election or to keep your majority, you might increase that corporate tax level a little bit, or you might do other things, such as increasing certain tariffs or other things, which can be very dangerous from a business point of view, because it increases uncertainty.
Right. But how does this centrist one come into it now?
I think that hasn't been the approach in Europe. I think the approach in Europe, at least since the Second World War, the aim has been to have relative stable institutions that you continue trying to improve, whereas now everything is sort of for sale. Does that make sense?
Yes. But like, how does I mean, I think that's kind of, definitely what we have been seeing for a while. Coming or being based in Asia, I see this quite a lot, that, especially Asian investors, consultants, they all see Europe moving towards the left pretty much. But like, coming back to the centrist in terms of policy change, right? How do the incentive how does it exactly work? So now let's say we have more technocratic voting patterns. How does this directly translate?
Yeah. So, well, we have to realize something. If we're talking about redistribution, for instance, of resources, right? You want to have the majority being as small as possible, because then there's fewer people to share, right? So, that's how it is. So a centrist government is not motivated necessarily by some lofty left-wing ideals about, helping the downtrodden or whatever you might, whatever. No. They're motivated by something else. They're motivating by optimizing for the median voter, which doesn't really exist, the median voter, but it's a construct of being, that voter most likely to change side, right? So, we need to appeal to them. So this will, of course, change from nation to nation, because Europe is obviously different. There's difference between Denmark and Italy, without a doubt. But in Denmark, this will be your middle class voter. Typically, one person would be employed in the public sector, because that is 50% of our gross domestic product. So, a very middle household type thing. So no policies to promote entrepreneurship, but also not really good social policies either. Just policies that make, that person, the standard person, as most likely to vote for you as possible. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.